All right, so let's talk about the ad most likely to be created by a realtor. I'll pull this up for you guys. If you want to the slides here for a
Yeah,
second.
it's funny. I mean, I just picture like, you're a big company and you've got this big commercial and you've got this one shot to get it right. And I noticed this Hyundai commercial and it really made me feel like it was created by a realtor. And what I mean by that is they used a lot of inside baseball lingo that
Mm-hmm.
regular people don't understand. So they had this big Hyundai commercial and it was about seller assurance.
Yep.
Okay. It was like really making me feel good that I was going to get seller assurance. But it never actually said here's what that is. By having seller assurance, you have a 30-day this, a 12-day this, and
Yeah.
$1,000 this. Like they didn't define what seller assurance was. They were just so excited that they came up with this new little term. And it makes me think about real estate. Like I've seen a lot of agents, Jimmy, get excited about free home warranty.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, thanks. The only people that get excited about that are you, or something like the title insurance or the appraisal. Like those things have way more perceived value than actual value. But like the takeaway is if you're going to try to invent some new kind of terminology, like make sure it's super clear. Like
Yeah.
just because something is easy to understand doesn't mean you shouldn't still explain it, right? So like you have to dumb stuff down, especially when it's new. You know what I mean? So like we build a tool, Jimmy, called Curator Brain. People never heard of it. And so for like it's not something they're used to that's better. It's something they never heard of.
Mm-hmm.
So for us to explain it, we have to really say, oh, it's all the ads and all the emails of all the curator clients sorted by the ones that did the best. Like we have got to dumb it down. We can't just say, oh, curator brain rocks, which
Yeah.
is what I felt like Hyundai did. Oh, seller assurance. Like a good example of this, if you go to Open Door and you talked earlier about Zillow buying homes, Open Door's buying homes too. But
Yeah.
Open Door, if you go to their website, Jimmy, it says, get an offer on your home with the press of a button.
Mm-hmm.
So Open Door is trying to invent a new category.
Yeah.
They're trying to create something that's never been done, but they're not skipping past the fact that you still have to really explain it slowly for people that aren't married to the process.
Yeah. What you're describing is the curse of knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
which is that when you're really close to a product or service, you tend to assume that people know what the hell you're talking about, and the reality is that most instances they don't.
Yep.
So you have to break it down. We actually have a recommendation for this. One of our favorite authors, I'll pull it up real quickly so you guys can see it. A guy by the name of Don Miller.
Mm-hmm.
Wrote a book called Story Brand. If you haven't checked this out, I want you guys to actually go to his website after the show, storybrand.com. He has a wonderful podcast you should also listen to. But Don talks about the importance, Chris, of understanding your consumers' problem. What problem are you really trying to solve for them? We actually had Don Miller speak and deliver a keynote at Curator Excellence. It blew us away. Our audience loved it. Standing ovation. We actually went one step further after he came to our conference. We had two of our employees who run a program called Team Revamp, which focus on helping people clarify their message so they can communicate more effectively to drive more sales to their business. We sent them down to Nashville for 4 days to become StoryBrand certified. And one of the things that they learned through that process, Chris, is that everybody struggles with this. Everybody wants to use lingo or language that's inside baseball like seller assurance.
Mm-hmm.
But if you actually have a systematic approach to doing a deep dive and understanding exactly what your customers are struggling with, and I think the way to think about it here, Chris, and what our team at Curator Revamp does is they help brands get in the mind of the consumer and in the conversation that's already happening. What are the parts of the conversation that the consumer's already having that's confusing them? And I'll just give you one example of this, Chris, because they built beautiful websites. And I'll pull this up real quickly for you here. They did the North Group as an example. Our girl Amy Youngren. And what's really interesting about it is that they find that when they're able to understand what the consumers want, they're then able to turn the corner and ensure what they represent on the website really speaks to the customer's needs. And that's going to be the focus for anybody who's coming up with any ad, any email, any campaign. You've got to get rid of the inside baseball, like you're saying, Chris, and you've got to figure out what language do people really use when they're thinking about buying or selling a home.
Yeah, it's funny is Don Miller, the way he sums all that up is very beautiful. If you confuse, you lose.
Yeah.
And I think that really is the way to say it. I was watching this speaker. He was a Gen Y speaker, now like a millennial speaker, if you will.
Yeah.
And he said, realtors basically say, "Do you have any referrals? Could you send me any referrals?" And he's like, "Let me give you guys some breaking news. Like, here's how a millennial would actually rather hear that. Do you have any friends I can help?"
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I know that that seems really basic, but
Yeah.
it's not. I remember my first couple weeks in the industry, FISBOs and MLS and farming and PMI and
Yeah.
mortgages. Like, there's just a lot of confusing things about this industry. Let's get into the next one. We're going to get into building emotion. But Jimmy, where can people go to learn more about us helping them with their brand?
Yeah, it's going to be Curator. We'll drop the link. It's curator.com/revamp.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you're wondering if this is a good fit for your business, it's really simple. If you're spending thousands of dollars on marketing right now and you
Mm-hmm.
haven't stopped and slowed down to get your messaging right,
Mm-hmm.
we're a good fit. If you
Yeah.
feel like your messaging is on point and your brand is really strong and it's working for you, great. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep executing
Yep.
the strategies we're talking about. But if you're spending money right now and you have never gone through a whole branding reprocess, if you will, like great opportunity. Curator.com/revamp.